Hey everyone, my name is Sean, your host for today, and this is the Titan Digital Asset Group podcast, where we have discussions with thought leaders in the crypto community and blockchain space. My guest today is Taotao. He is the co-founder and the CEO of the Titan Digital Asset Group. How are you today, Taotao?
Hey Sean, well, I'm doing great. How you doing?
I'm pretty good as well.
How's the weather down there? Where are you right now, by the way?
I'm currently in Atlanta, and the weather is pretty good. I think it's 16 degrees Celsius, so that's air conditioned temperature.
I mean, wow, that's nice. It was actually snowing in New York 2 days ago.
Yeah, I heard from one of my other friends in New York that the snow is pretty heavy at the moment.
I mean, right now it's nice and sunny, but then again, it was snowing on Friday night, so then Friday night was quite boring.
Yeah, I can see that, but I'm not much of a party person, so yeah. Okay, anyway, so let me get started. So, Tao Tao, can you tell us more about your background, your education, your past work experience, and what led you into the cryptocurrency space?
All right, yeah. So I grew up in Hong Kong, and then I went to University of Southern California Marshall School of Business, where I majored in finance. The reason why I majored in finance is because my dad is a finance professor, and he also runs a fund himself too. So it was a natural transition for me to break into finance. At that time, I found finance to be really exciting because in my view, I felt finance employs some of the most smartest people. It's not only within finance, but you also need a certain skill set to flourish within finance. You have to be good at problem solving skills. You have to be analytical. You also must be a people person, and you must be a great salesman too. So then I thought in finance I'll be able to develop all these skill sets, and then also under the whole rigor of finance of the training within Wall Street, it will allow me to be a much better worker, but also a much better leader later on down the road. So when I first graduated, I went to Bridgewater Associates, which is the world's largest hedge fund. Over there, I guess the most striking quality of Bridgewater is the culture. It's known for their radical transparency and then also radical honesty, because Ray Dalio, the founder, believes that if you combine those two, we are able to create meaningful relationships. So then that being said, essentially is you work under the construct of an idea meritocracy. So then, let's say, Sean, if you're my boss, and then if you do something which I'm not that happy with, I should be more than happy, or I should be comfortable to call you out upon it. And then that's the culture which I want to bring into Titan, because I think no one is always correct, right? Because if you think about all the knowledge you know compared to all the knowledge that you don't know, well, you should feel humbled by it. So then if I say something which is out of line, or let's say if I have an investment idea which does not make sense, I would want the rest of the team to actually call me out on it, because this will not only allow me to grow, but also allow Titan to grow as a team too. And then after Bridgewater, I then worked at Barclays, where I had two desks. So the first desk that was on the hedge fund strategic consulting team. Essentially, is that we provided consulting services to not only hedge funds but also to large institutional investors such as pension funds, endowments, and so forth. And the second desk was on the equity risk trading side. So over there, I manage Barclays' own internal book and help optimize their own balance sheet. So looking at Barclays, I guess did really open my eyes, because over there, I guess by being within the sales and trading desk, I actually felt the buzz of the markets every day when you walked into work. You saw it was early in the morning, like 6 or 7 a.m. The streets are empty, and then you're working, generating money when the rest of the city is actually sleeping. So that was almost like a sense of pride. And then over there, it actually really honed my skills within coding, within looking at data and so forth, because that was what I had to do at my second desk almost every day. So what got me into cryptocurrency? So I was always interested in cryptocurrency. I was always interested in actually cryptocurrencies. Like after reading Bitcoin's white paper, which was authored by Satoshi Nakamoto, it actually only piqued my interest. As at first, I really did not even understand the subject at all, and then after hearing everyone talk about it, then I thought, oh wait, I should probably understand it more so because everyone is talking about blockchain. Yes, not everyone is talking about Bitcoin, but then everyone's talking about the technology behind blockchain. And it wasn't until later when like there were other blockchains being developed, such as Ethereum and the Turing complete blockchains, that really started to pique my interest because that's when I started to see real life use cases which could be implemented by these blockchain technologies via these coins or tokens. And I guess most of my interest could be attributed to my friend Leo. He really pushed me to learn about the project. And then after going to various like meetups within New York, that was roughly 2 years ago. Then I started to buy Ethereum. Most of the money that I invested was actually in the beginning of 2017. And then it was around that time that me and George talk about cryptocurrencies, especially about Ethereum at first. And then the idea of Titan came around June of 2017.
Yeah, I think those are all excellent points, Taotao. Thanks for walking through your background. I think your idea of leadership is very good, and it's influenced a lot by Ray Dalio. I remember seeing you post a picture with him on your Facebook. But yeah, Ray Dalio is like a very respected leader, and we're very happy that you can bring his leadership principles into Titan. So yeah, great stuff. So you mentioned how you got into cryptocurrencies, and now I'm curious, what excites you the most about the markets and why?
So I guess going back to what excites me about cryptocurrencies, I guess first I would elaborate upon the technology because I believe the technology would allow us to bank the unbanked. Meaning people around the world who don't have access to a bank account could actually have some form of banking capabilities. It will allow us to take ownership of our own identities. Like right now, we don't own our own data. Facebook, Amazon, Google controls all of our data, but through blockchain technology, we can control our own ID. It will also allow us to create a governance systems which we could reach consensus without a central authority, which means there will be no single point of failure, and which means the ecosystem will be much safer as a whole. So then that is why I'm interested within the technology. And then right now we are reaching a point where the technology is actually starting to mature. Maybe not mature fully, but then we could actually see real life use cases right now. So then what excites me about the cryptocurrency market? I guess there's a sheer complexity of the market. It's almost like a 300 level class. There's 101 finance, 101 economics, 101 computer science, 101 anthropology, and the list goes on and on. So then, by being such a complex asset class, you would have to be almost like a Leonardo da Vinci, I guess, right? You have to be a master of everything. So then this means that there's always so much to learn. Like let's say compared to a normal stock market, normal bond market. Yes, it is complex. I believe the breadth of the cryptocurrency market to be so much bigger than just of equity or bonds because the cryptocurrency market has the potential to disrupt every market out there. It could disrupt banking, healthcare, computer science, and then remittances and so forth. So if you truly want to understand cryptocurrency, you have to understand all these subjects, or you have to employ people who's a master of one field and then able to dissect this information for you.
Yeah, I think I really like the way you explained the cryptocurrencies as a 300 level class. I totally agree with you, and I think that reinforces that a multidisciplinary perspective is essential to do well in this space. So some knowledge in economics, some finance knowledge, and then some knowledge in software engineering as well. So moving on to the next question, can you tell us about the purpose of Titan and what are your short and long-term goals for Titan?
So Titan's purpose actively managed cryptocurrency hedge fund for its clients. So then we aim to diversify the risk of the average institutional client's portfolio. So then they could be invested into equity stocks, other hedge funds, private equity, real estate. But then we are allowing them a chance to also invest in cryptocurrencies managed by trained highly pedagogic Wall Street professionals. So then, if you look on a portfolio allocation basis within their portfolio, since the cryptocurrency market does not have any correlation towards stocks or bonds, it actually makes their portfolio safer from a portfolio diversification standpoint. So then that is one of the purposes of Titan. And then also one of the purposes of Titan is to basically help bring the edge of professionalism into the relatively immature cryptocurrency market. Because right now, for the first time in history, is we are in an asset class where retail investors are front-running professional investors. Professional investors being hedge funds and so forth, they can't get in due to KYC, AML, custodian issues. So retail investors such as these are mom and pop shop traders, or like people who just buy the bitcoins or Ethereum, they could buy it because of the hype. So then right now, most of the market participants, they don't really know what they're doing. They actually do not really understand trading. They don't really understand the investment thesis behind these coins. They're mostly buying because everyone is talking about it. So then, when Titan joins the market, when we fully start deploying money, we will also educate the market about what is going on, and then try to, I guess, make the markets more efficient. What's the long and short term goals of Titan? So there's no really short goal of Titan, right? I mean, my goal is to make Titan as big as possible. I do want Titan to be a household cryptocurrency hedge fund name. We do have a broad mandate. We could not only trade cryptocurrencies, but we also could trade stocks and bonds. So my dream to Titan is to become almost like a really flexible, nimble hedge fund, which could trade across every different asset class. So let's say if the cryptocurrency market is a bit depressed, we can then migrate to stocks and bonds. But then if we think the crypto market right now, for example, can be really hot, we can then deploy more capital into the crypto markets. So that's a long-term goal of Titan. If I really had to choose a short-term goal of Titan, I guess it would be to assemble, which I think George and I did, the best team out there. We have people from highly esteemed Wall Street backgrounds, such as George and Sam. We also have really good coders, such as Ting Wei and also JC. And we have people such as yourself, Cheyenne, Darren, and Brian, and then Larry on the operations, marketing, legal front to help support this whole Titan team.
Yeah, I think you have a very great point there. I think I really like the way you talk about the benefits of having cryptocurrency in your portfolio. You know, in Harry Markowitz's theory, basically, even if you have an asset that is very volatile by itself, when constructed in the framework of a more diversified portfolio, that really helps. That can actually reduce the risk in the overall portfolio. And I think to your point on, betting on these technologies that are more risky, I think like one of the very famous examples is the Yale Endowment. They bet a lot on VCs, and now, or over the past 20 years, they were able to raise their fund size, their endowment size from like 5 billion to like 30 billion or so. So I think that's a pretty good strategy. The next question I have is, I think maybe some of our viewers know that one of our key advantages is our partnership with Strategic Coin, and you're currently the director of advisory there. Can you tell us more about Strategic Coin and what your role is and what you do for them?
Yeah, of course. So as you said, one of our primary key advantages to other hedge funds out there is our partnership with Strategic Coin. So Strategic Coin is backed by a private family office. As I said, I'm also the director of advisory at Strategic Coin, And Strategic Coin is a crypto research and also advisory firm. So then on the research side, which is self-explanatory, is that we write research papers on the tokens which we cover. It could be ICOs or it could be secondary coins. And then on the advisory side is we help existing businesses integrate blockchain capabilities into them, such as we're doing oneforjobs.com, which we think would actually change the way how the online recruiting system will be. We're also helping other notable projects, which I can't comment on now. But then I do expect in the next month or so there to be 2 or 3 new announcements. So in doing so, by being the director of advisory, I can see the whole process of how a token ICOs or has a token generation event. So then so I see what the blockchain developers have to build. I see the whole legal process behind it, where they should be domiciled, where they should be listed, and then the whole marketing going on, and so forth. So the edge of Strategic Coin is, as I said, is backed by a family office. So the founder of the family office is able to leverage his existing relationships in the business world, such as Goodwin Procter is our legal counsel and the top law firm out there. We have McCann for marketing. McCann does marketing for Coca-Cola, and then so then these firms, they're not small firms out there. They're really expensive firms, and then we also need a personal connection to actually work with them. So that's what our founder Norman Rothstein brings to the table. We are also work really closely with Block, BOOQ. Block, in my opinion, is probably one of the most prolific blockchain companies out there. Their founder is Jeff Garzik, who's also the co-founder of Bitcoin. So then, by being able to partner with such a pedigreed firm like Block, it also allows us to cover and also get into many high-profile deals.
Yeah, I totally agree with all your points there. Norman Rothstein, we met him in New York, and he's obviously a well-connected guy. Goodwin Procter, as you mentioned, is also Coinbase's legal counsel, and I think he has a lot of solid connections from working in Wall Street for over 30 years. So all that is good stuff. So when you're in this space, it's quite obvious that you see a lot of deal flow and you see a lot of different projects. And I was wondering, when you look at a lot of these projects, what criteria do you use to know if it's a promising investment or a promising protocol?
So that's a great question actually. So then, with every coin or every protocol, it is slightly different. But then at Titan, I guess we published this market outlook for 2018 is that we try to narrow down our investments into a few thematic themes which we see playing out in the next year or so. So I think 2018 would be about off-chain solutions and also about scalability. So which could be which links to privacy. And then so I try to link all these themes together, and then to try to find a token or a protocol which could cater to most of these themes. So then that is from a business perspective, right? So you find these themes which you think could play out. When you look at the token or the protocol's total addressable market, and then when you also look at the competitors, both on chain and then also off blockchain. So then that's really that I'm sure every other hedge fund has, right? So then that's a really simple investment guideline. But then I feel what really makes it unique is you have to look at the coin's GitHub page. You have to really understand the technology. So you need so you also need coders on the team to actually analyze the code to really ask the hard questions, which most of the people let's say me and George can't really comment on because our coding expertise is not nearly as good as JC's or Team Way's. And then Team Way joined the team a month or two ago, and then after joining the team, he already added so much value because he looked at the coin, which I really liked, and then when he pointed out some of the technical challenges, and then right now that's actually really changing my view on the coin. So then I guess if you really want to find a good coin, it not only has to make sense from a business perspective, but also at the same time from a technical perspective too. I could go on and on about this topic, talking about if a coin is undervalued and so forth. But then, in the interest of time, I think we should tackle the other questions too.
Yeah, those are all good points. And I guess what coins other than the Coinbase coins do you think are worth looking into? It doesn't necessarily mean that they'll be profitable in like a year or so, but yeah, what are coins do you think are exciting because of either their investment potential or just the use case that they're trying to solve?
I mean, that's a $1 million question, right? Like when you saw Bitcoin Cash listed on Coinbase, the the price even spiked up to what, $7,000 to $8,000. Coinbase did say that they will list some coins, but then I think recently Brian Armstrong said, "Oh wait, we actually might not even list some coins." So then there's some back and forth going on it. But if I really did have to choose, it sounds weird, but maybe Ethereum Classic. That's based on speculation because the backer of Ethereum Classic is also a major investor within Coinbase. So then he could be pushing Coinbase to list Ethereum Classic. But if you want to look at it from a criteria perspective, I think Stellar Lumens makes a ton of sense. If you look through G-axis or you look at Coinbase guidelines, everything does match with what Stellar Lumens is playing out to be. But some coins which I think which are promising, I guess it would be ENG, which is called Enigma. Enigma is a privacy and also a scalability protocol, which is currently an ERC20 token, but later on down the road, they do plan on making their own private blockchain. So then essentially what this does is, it's like, right now when you do a smart contract and so forth, you can see all the transactions. But what Enigma's secret sauce is that it has secret smart contracts. So then so you cannot see the data that is being processed. So basically, you could process a ton of private data, which is not possible right now.
One of the main investors in Coinbase is Barry Silbert, right? And he's also the supporter of Ethereum Classic. Yeah, I follow his Twitter, and he's very prolific on that on the Twitter newsfeed. He like posts pretty frequently, and he's actually also an Emory alumni, so that's pretty cool. So the next part of this interview will be the lightning round. So the idea of the lightning round is we want you to keep your answers concise and short and to the point. So the first question that I have is, what makes you get out of the bed each morning?
I mean, what makes me even get out of the bed? I guess what gets me out of bed every morning essentially is how I view every day to be something different, and then every day is a constant learning curve, and that's what gets me out of bed.
Got it. What's a skill that you really pride yourself in?
So a skill that I pride myself in is being able to, inspire loyalty. I think that's a trait which I had ever since growing up. Like if you look at Titan on a HGR, I think both me and Joseph managed to inspire a bunch of loyalty within a group of talented young individuals.
Yes, I definitely agree with that. And what's a relatively unknown fact about you?
So, I guess growing up after the Sichuan earthquake back in the mid 2000s, I actually went back to Sichuan, and then me and my friends and my dad raised a bunch of money, and we helped rebuild a high school and a library. So then we are sending a few hundred kids to college every year.
Oh wow! Sorry, can you repeat that? You built a library and a school, or what?
High school.
Oh, high school. Okay, got it. So, what's a contrarian view or a bold prediction that you have for the next 10 years?
For the next 10 years, I guess George getting married.
Sorry?
George getting married.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. So what do you like to read to keep up to date with the world?
So, apart from the run-of-the-mill, Wall Street Journal, CNBC, MSNBC, and so forth, I do read all that. But then within the crypto world, I guess, I would be social media. That sounds kind of odd, but then within the crypto world, news are so fragmented, so you not only have to look at Twitter, you also have to look at Reddit, Bitcoin Talk,
Got it. What's a hobby or an activity that you enjoy doing to de-stress?
Um, so I guess when I be stressed, I do like to go to the gym or to hang out with friends and stuff. But I realize like what really helps me distress is an activity that I took up recently. It's more like trampolining. So then you basically when you jump up really high areas into like a foam pit. So you bounce up and down, and then I found that to be quite distressing.
Yeah, that sounds like pretty. It seems like it has to do with a lot of what we enjoy doing as kids. So
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
So
Never grow up, Sean. Never grow up.
yeah. So what's overhyped in today's world, and what do you think is? I guess like what phenomenon or what events do you think are too hyped up?
I would not say like what event. I'll say like what thing in the world is most hyped up right now, and I would say it's actually lobster. Because if you think about it, right, everyone would actually talk about how they want to eat lobster, and then they would dunk it with garlic and butter, and it sounds amazing. But then in my personal opinion, just by going to all these restaurants, is that lobster is not that hyped up as it should be. It is really expensive, and then after having lobster, I am always still very hungry. So in my opinion, lobster is probably one of the most overhyped things in the world right now.
Okay, got it. So yeah, that's all we have for you, and yeah, thanks so much, Taotao, for taking the time to speak with me. And I think, talking to you will hopefully give potential partners, insight into how we think and how we view this space.
Yep. Thank you, Sean. It was my pleasure.
All right, thanks, Taotao.